Hello, welcome to the iPerspective demonstration of creating Adobe Flex applications using iPerspective. We're going to create an Adobe Flex application, and to start off on the left within iPerspective we have our data sources. On the right we have our iPerspective server, application server. I'm going to add a new package and I'm going to call it the Order Flex app, and in the description I can say this is an Adobe Flex order application, and I can say that I want to generate a client, and in this case I'm going to say that I want to generate a Flex application, and I'm going to put the client application into a directory called c:\IP. I'm going to add that package with the client, and you'll see here that I have the new Adobe Flex app that doesn't have any components within it at the current time. As I drag objects from the database into my application, it'll create them with the right configuration. For example, Adobe likes SOAP-based services, and so you'll see that it creates SOAP-based services. I have a database, I have a number of databases here that you can see. I have my office sales data, and I can search through that database, or I can search the database objects and fetch them out of the database. When I fetch the objects, I'm going to see a list of my tables in this case, which typically you don't expose raw tables. You typically would want to have some sort of business logic on top of the data. And so let's just say that I want to take my top customers and drag it into my Adobe Flex application, and it'll add that in, and now I happen to have one thing called top customers here, and that just has a customer ID, customer name, and a total amount for that particular customer. In this case, we don't really need the customer ID. Let's just say that I'm going to include the customer name and the order total. And then I might look at product information, would be another example, or there are other tables that I could look at, like sales by category, and I can drag them into my Adobe Flex application. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create this application that Adobe Flex can actually use the data and graph it and show it in a table format. And so we have a couple of different objects within here at this point in time, and at any point in time I can say that I want to synchronize that particular package, which writes all of the logic. It writes the web services. In this case they're going to be SOAP-based web services. You can see it completed that in about 7 seconds, and it deployed it to the application server. If we look at sales by category, for example, and we look at the configuration, you can see that the configuration's automatically been set up for me. And in this case, they're Pojo, SOAP, XML, Entity Plane. It knows exactly how to configure the services that Adobe Flex likes. So at this point in time, I have data in a directory, and I've got an application, an Adobe Flex application, in a directory. And so I'm going to go into my Adobe Flex Flash Builder, and I'm going to import that particular application, and I'm going to that happens to be in c:\IP, and I'm going to browse for it. We should find didn't find my IP directory. Now I'm going to look at the Flex, and here's my Flex Order Flex app, and so it has an application. Sorry, let's open the project folder and say if I want to finish, and it's going to import that particular application into Flex. Now at this point, all of the components that you see here, the XML files, the images, those are all part of templates, which are completely changeable by you as a developer. You can go in and change those. And I can come in here and I can say that I want to run it as a Flex application, and you can see that we've got a couple of different we've got a tab within the application, which is written out into an XML configuration file. And we've got a line chart that I can actually change to a bar chart if I like. I've got a table of information, and then I have a pie chart where I can see the sales in each of those categories. And here we're seeing each of our customers in the Adobe Flex application. We're seeing the top customers in a table. We're seeing in a line, again, we can change that to a bar chart. So we wrote the client that is consuming the web services. The web services are still available if I go back to my workbench and I look at the details. I can find the WSDL for these services, and I can use these services to be consumed by any application that I want. So hopefully that gives you a good feel for how you go about creating an Adobe Flex application using iPerspective to generate the client and the web services. Thank you for watching.